Hey, everybody, I'm Lisa Campion, and this is the Miracle of Healing. And get ready to dive deep today because today's guest does not do surface level. And I can say that from experience because I've had the pleasure of being on Alana Pratt's podcast. And I walked away from that knowing this woman is the real deal. Alana is a globally recognized intimacy expert, Healy grad, author of 6 books, who spent the past couple of decades helping people with heartbreak, reclaim their aliveness, attract soul-shaking relationships. Sounds good to me. And she is the host of the Bold podcast, Intimate Conversations, been running for 13 seasons now, and it's racked up over 6 million views on YouTube. Right on. She's been featured in People Magazine, Forbes, Huffington Post, across every major network. And Alana has interviewed some pretty famous people like Whoopi Goldberg, Alanis Morissette. And today she's here to crack open the conversation that most people are too afraid to have. Why women lose touch with their desire and how to get it back even juicier than ever. So happy to have you here, Alana. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, it's great to be back in connection with you, sister. We had a delicious time.
Oh my God, it was so fun.
Yes. So let's see where the magic takes us today. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I wonder if you could start a little bit with your story. You have a beautiful story, and I'd love, this is inspiring to maybe start with like what got you to where you are today.
Yes. Well, do we have 5 hours? No, just kidding. I think the way to best describe it, so small town Canadian girl, dad, drunken stoned pharmacist, mom, teacher, and pretty checked out, just kind of keeping it together. It was silent a lot of the time. And I wanted to follow my dreams being a dancer. I'd been a dancer since I was 5. And they all thought that was stupid. You should, get a real job. But Uncle Phil had an 18-wheeler semi and he went down to LA once a month. So I quit college after 2 years and went to LA to follow my dreams, be a dancer. And I was talented enough, brave enough, but I didn't have the working visa. But there was a show over in Japan that I could get hired for. So over I went bravely. And I was luckily not sold into slavery, although I did go to the Chamber of Commerce before I went to check out if it was legit. And that's when I first started dancing in shows with girls and I'm like, you're going to pay us for this? This is crazy. These big cabaret shows and these Four Seasons hotels. And I was modeling in the day and backpacking through, Thailand or China or Bali. And I was really living my dreams and simultaneously was quite aware how insecure I was. I didn't think my body was a divine temple. I was pretty sure it was a piece of meat to be like a commodity. And the gift of those first shows with the dancers from the Moulin Rouge or the Lido or Crazy Horse in Paris, I was dancing with all these French girls. They really taught me my body is a divine temple. And that they even taught me energetics, to breathe in the energy of the audience. And I could, like alchemy on the inside of my body, I could feel the slimy, horny, lusty energy coming at me. And they taught me how to breathe it within my body and exhale it out my eyelashes and fingertips. Thank you. I am a goddess. Thank you for noticing. And I learned at 20 years old how to take a man who was looking at me kind of like leeringly, is that a word? To literally sitting up taller with his hands in like prayer, like bowing to me. And I thought, oh my goodness.
Wow.
We are in charge of how people see us, how we hold ourselves. There's a dynamic going on here, and I wanted to learn more. So I'm now 56 almost. So that's been a long journey of becoming an intimacy expert, but it's really all been about our intimate relationship with ourselves, energy, our bodies, divinity, and then how that ripples into intimate relationships with others.
Wow, that's a great story. I had a similar experience, but I went through the lens of being a martial artist. When I was at that stage in my life, I was a martial artist, and I also went to Japan, and actually lived there for a while studying.
What year were you there, Lisa?
I was there in the early 90s, so like 90 to 92.
Stop it. I was there 90 to 94. Oh my God.
No way.
We could have been on the subway together. That's crazy.
Except I wasn't in Tokyo. I was in the southern island. I was in Kyushu.
Oh, okay.
Teaching English in a Catholic all-girls high school.
Oh my.
And studying martial arts. So wow, so funny.
Yes, I love this. We find out even more about each other that we
I know.
are our paths are crossed. Yeah.
So I love that story so much. I want to ask you about the title intimacy expert because
Mm.
I think, people use the word intimacy as kind of a substitute word for sex. And sex can be part of intimacy, but we also know we can have sex without intimacy. What is an intimacy expert?
Yeah. I kept it. I toyed with it a lot of times because a lot of people instantly thought I was a sex tantrika or I was going to teach more about how do the genital parts come together. And while that's important, that's not the way I look at intimacy. I break down the word intimacy into me, I see. And it's really about our relationship with our truth, our authenticity, our emotions, our body, soul embodiment. It's really an inside job. And what I discovered, I basically have to teach what I'm here to learn. And because when I looked inside all those years back, so it's now taking you back to Tokyo, and let's say I had a six week in between my shows, I took myself to Thailand, and I realized every woman I looked at, I was in competition with. And every man I looked at, it was like, when is he going to hurt me? When is he going to abuse me? When is he going to take me? This was like the subconscious feelings going on in my body. So as I began to have an intimate relationship with myself, I had to come to terms with how insecure I was, scared I was, unintegrated wounds of abuse growing up, all of these things. And I remember one of my first direct experiences walking the beaches of Koh Phangan in nothing more than a floss G-string to trigger all of my insecurities. And I think I walked up and down that 3-mile stretch, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, crying, just so concerned with what people thought about me and wanting it to be different, wanting to be whole, wanting to see women as my sisters, wanting to see men as my brothers. But my body was so scared. And I walked up and down until one time, the last time I turned around, I said, oh, just fuck it. I guess I'm just going to be insecure forever. And then the floor, the sand fell away. I was one with the breeze. Everybody turned into a bodhisattva. And I felt oneness with my body and the earth and the cosmos for the first time ever. And it wasn't through pushing or trying to get somewhere. It was through surrendering to my vulnerability, to embracing my insecurity, to just letting go. And that's been a theme of me as an intimacy expert, being that safe space for people to just let go and feel.
Wow. We've lived such parallel lives. I had a very similar experience on a beach in Thailand.
Oh, yeah?
In
Which
that
island?
scene, I think it was,
Phuket or
yeah, Phuket. It was Phuket. And I was, like, in a little string bikini and feeling super insecure about my body and everything, and the whole, and then I had this, like, I call them future memories of myself much older, like, looking at a photograph of me in the string bikini on the beach in Thailand being like, "What are you talking about? You, like, are smoking hot and
Right,
athletic." I was an athlete, you know?
right.
And, like, what do you complain like, to have this sort of objective,
Yeah,
um and the whole reason I studied martial arts is because I didn't wanna be afraid. I didn't wanna be afraid of men. I didn't wanna be
yes,
afraid of the world. I love to travel,
yes,
and I wanted to inhabit my body in a way without any fear.
yeah,
And it really worked because, I could kick some ass. And so I was able to walk around the world without that, to sort of own my physicality, which was really important for me because I was a psychic, you know?
right.
So spent a lot of time out and needed that to sort of balance the coming back in and feeling safe. I think it's such a big deal for women, isn't it?
Oh,
That,
massive.
we have to work really hard to feel safe in our own bodies.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, anyways, it's been the biggest journey to feel at peace in my skin and safe in my
Mm.
body and have a voice and have healthy boundaries, but to also understand, yes, my voice clearly matters, but my energy speaks even more volumes. And
Yeah.
it's taken decades, Lisa. It's like an ongoing evolution for me. But I'm remembering back about 5, 8 years ago, I was living in Wyoming, going to my acupuncturist who was simultaneously studying to be like a horse whisperer. And when she finished her certification, she took me out on the back 20 acres. And first she gave me a rope, and there were dogs and horses were everywhere. And she's like, okay, I want you to walk with your rope, like swinging it like a figure eight back and forth. This is your space. And so we started walking along the acreage, and some of the dogs came near me, and I pulled in and I made my figure eight really small. And she's like, this is telling me when you're around others, you become the victim, you contract. It is the dog's job to stay out of your way. Keep going. Make your figure eight as big as Queen Allana. And so I burst into tears. I'm like, oh my God, she read me within minutes of how I navigate. Where's the next abuser to survive? I was just starting my psychedelic somatic integration work at that time after a physically abusive relationship that I was so ashamed of. And I'm like, okay, I've done a lot of work for 20 years, but apparently there's more work to do. So here we go. And so finally we got to this place on the top of the mountain, and she said, I need you to be able to push me back with your energy. So we stood on the mountain, and she kept walking towards me. Lisa, it took me probably 4 or 5 times crying to actually own my divinity, my worthiness, that this is a divine temple and you will back the fuck off. And I finally got that energy of, so she could feel me and not come into my space. But then the other side of that, so that's one half of the journey, is the fierce love, and our boundaries. The other half of it, I was closing my heart along with my fierce love. I was still scared. So how could I balance an open heart of mercy, forgiveness, openness with back the fuck off? And so then once we got the boundary of then she said, now we can go down to the horses. So we went down to the horses, and they moved really far away because they knew, like, back the fuck off. But she's like, okay, so now we're going to come into balance. What is it going to take for you to open your heart right now? And it was a place of forgiveness that I couldn't find, Lisa. Like, how could I, after 20 years, making this huge difference on the planet, helping singles find the one, helping couples either consciously uncouple or reignite their marriage? How could I have all these millions of views and 6 books? How could I attract a man who hit me? And he ended up going to jail. He ended up pleading guilty for criminal assault. And I kept the whole thing quiet because I was so ashamed of, like, how could I do that? So she's like, I think what is going to be required is more than forgiveness. I think you just need to ask for mercy, because I couldn't find a place in me that could say, it's okay. I was still in judgment of myself. So I just was there on the mountain crying. And I just said, divine, I need mercy. I need mercy. This must be part of my life journey. This must be part of being, open, vulnerable, relatable, transparent as a brand. Maybe a lot of people have trouble forgiving something that they did. Maybe I'm not alone. So as this mercy poured into me, all the horses began to come over to me. And this one came right up and gave me a headbutt right on my forehead. And she's like, well done. You balanced these 2 capacities. Now your job is to practice embodying them as a way of life and to teach this.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. That's such a powerful story, and so many threads there. Like, I think it's very, first of all, unfortunately, so common for people to experience domestic violence, and it's not something that we talk about, very much. There's so much shame around that, and even more, I think so many women have experienced different kinds, and not all women, certainly common for men too, have experienced all kinds of sexual violence. So, and sexual trauma. So I think we all develop, not all, but so many of us develop the pattern of leaving our body during sex. So we don't even know, and maybe not even during sex, maybe it's just on the first date or when you see somebody, somebody walking towards you on the sidewalk, like we go out. And I know a lot of the work that you do is helping people claim back their body and, claim back their nervous system. So can we talk about that? Because I think it's like an epidemic, the world's biggest epidemic. Right?
Yeah, I've got shivers as you're even talking to me right now. Definitely. So first I learned, and now I can facilitate. So with my either psychedelic somatic integration workers or sexual somatic integration workers, first was allowing plant medicine to show me where I was out of my body, and my body would get very cold and numb and empty. And when I came back in, so that's like level 4 trauma. When I came back in level 3 trauma, the energy of coming back in the body was so hopeless. What's the point? It was my body experiencing what it was like to be abused over and over and over and no escape, that made me like leave as a little kid. So I had to feel through a lot of suicidal ideations and hopelessness and stay in my body and be with my body and honor my body and listen to my body. Level 3 trauma. Then we went to level 2 trauma. And it was a very short burst of what my body actually went through. Total terror, complete panic, rage, like murderous rage, and a lot of self-loathing and self-hatred that I had made it mean it was all my fault. So these were bursts. That's like a wave when you get all the way back to zero. So I did many waves feeling these feelings that I didn't know how to be with on my own, but a facilitator holding space, I could be with them and integrate them. Level 1 trauma, kind of like nervousness, but also a sense of relief. Like I didn't die, because my sweet little body back at 4 or 5 years old or 50 years old thought she was going to die. So relief, homecoming. And then all the way back to 0 point, still point. Oh my God. It is so worth it. It is so worth it, because it's your soul in your body. And there's no saying, and your soul is also around your body. And so the soul on the outside and the soul on the inside, and divinity's holding you tight. And you haven't just gotten rid of the anger, the shame, the terror. It's been like alchemy. You now have embodied wisdom in your body. You have this awareness of why everything happened for your soul's evolution. So you're home, you're one with your soul, and you're wise as fuck, and you know exactly why it happened. And you don't even have like forgiveness. It is. It was perfect. It all unfolded totally in alignment with your soul's evolution. So that wave has been an extraordinary gift to myself. And now I facilitate it with countless others of clients. This beautiful place I have in Santa Fe, that they come and we do these very deep journeys, bringing souls back into the body. I remember just a couple weekends ago, a client experienced her body loving her. For the first time. She's 57 ever in her whole life. And she's going through a divorce. I've had 2 divorces. When we're not in our bodies and our wounds, trauma wounds are running the show. She's super intelligent. I'm super intelligent. Cum laude graduate of like Ivy League school. Didn't do shit to help. Like, I know I want a healthy relationship. And I can cognitively analyze that all day long, give you the list of 50 things I'm looking for. But that's just the top of the iceberg. Very small, the conscious mind, the beliefs. The huge iceberg under the water is what's running the show for so many of us, which is why we make poor decisions in love or finances or work. So that's the psychedelic somatic integration work. And just briefly, the first time I worked with a sexual somatic practitioner, I was dating someone. It was after my retreat in Costa Rica. I thought we'd do some sessions after, be like super fun. Not super fun, Lisa. The minute I did my session with her, I was in my body. Everything was super cool. The minute the boyfriend walked in the room, she's like, well, look who just left. And I'm like, excuse me? She goes, you're gone. You're completely in performative right now. You're not even here. I'm like, oh my God, like we can't see what we can't see. Our blind spot is our blind spot. And he was nervous as anything. I was scared. And she held space for us to stay in our bodies and come back together. And he never did. And that relationship never made it. But I could also forgive myself that like attracted like. That vibration attracted the like vibration. So I could forgive him, forgive me, and double down on the quality of relationship with myself, my body, and a future beloved. Of what's
It's
really possible.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's such a great example of how like other people in the world and in general are like mirrors, that are mirroring back to us what we need to see, or the matchy wounds, like the Lego match when we choose from that wounded, unconscious, wounded self, we get the matchy wounded person, wound mates, right?
Yes.
And that each one is that opportunity to see ourselves, to heal, to see another level and heal another level.
Yeah.
All research. That's what I think. It's all research. It's all part of the healing process.
Correct. We're here to experience, not to quote unquote get it right. And what's been really interesting over the last, I guess, a good year and a half now, the old feelings of libido aren't there anymore. And I went through a real void of well, do I not have desire anymore? Am I not like going to be juicy anymore? But to me, it was a dying of the identity where it was like a lust libido based on, did he like me? Did I get the approval? Did I orgasm? Does he feel like a winner because he made me orgasm? All of those dynamics, that identity really died. And in the void, this eroticism with the divine, this making love with life, this juiciness for no reason, the sensuality of clothes and taste and sun on my cheeks and an intimate conversation like this, like the flow of energy wasn't just for genital copulation. It's become this way of life, and orgasms are different. They're not just clitoral, they're more vaginal or full body or nipple, or they're just all these different flavors of, and I'm going to put the word sacred eroticism. It's an honoring of myself.
Mhm.
And I made a pact to that sexual somatic practitioner that the next man I'm intimate with, I'm single right now, will be introduced to my yoni. There will be a ritual. There will be a ceremony. I have never honored her like that in a relationship. I just sort of waited around for him to stick it in. Like I never, the way I'm honoring her and listening to her, I never brought that relationship into a sexual relationship with a partner ever. So I look forward, I'm still a work in progress, and I look forward to introducing my sacred yoni to my next partner while making love with life and not feeling, I mean, I do look forward to that relationship, that's for sure, but I don't have a sense of missing.
Hmm.
There's more
Amazing.
of a juiciness for just being alive that I haven't had this calmly in my body before.
That's so cool. And I think, you know, when we come to that level, and I love how you talked about the ritual there, that where we can really dialogue with that part of ourselves
Yeah.
and how wise um that particular part of us is.
Yes.
For me, she's the boss.
Thank
And,
you.
you know, like living from that place is totally different.
Yes.
I think about, was it Martha Graham? Martha Graham, the
Dancer.
modern dancer, yeah, who was watching somebody dance and she approved of them, and she's like, "Yes, that's a good dancer. She moves from her yoni," you know. Um,
There
and
we go.
that
Yes.
was it. That was the litmus test of whether you were a good dancer or not for Martha
I
Graham.
I love this. When I think about where the soul coming all the way into the body, it doesn't stop at the pineal. It doesn't stop at the heart. It goes all the way down into my yoni, and the way my hips move when I feel embodied and they lead when I walk or when I dance is completely different than the top down strategizing, got to be safe, got to do it right, got to get some outcome. Oh, it's
Right.
just so much more delicious in the hips, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's the difference between, like, what you were saying in the old way, which is the performative, you know,
Yeah.
and I think so very many of us
Yeah.
use our intimate sexual relationships are coming from a performative place, and we don't really know. We don't even really know that's what we're doing. We think we're
Right.
doing it right, or what is there even another way to relate to people that way? And yeah, and I just love the work you're doing that way. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the divine feminine masculine, as because
Yeah.
it's such a hot topic, and
Yeah.
you know, and I just am so curious about what your take on what that really means. What is that really?
Mm.
Because I think there's some, I don't know, I want to call it like new age bullshit about what that is and how we're supposed to do it. So I'd love to hear your take on it.
Thank you. It's evolving as I've moved into the fifth dimension, what I would label or define as masculine, feminine, or even I would use the words divine masculine, divine feminine, but I wasn't there. I was spewing what I was taught, which was the best I think we could do in the third and fourth dimension. But as I'm moving into the fifth, it's a very different. It's actually swirling with divine masculine, divine feminine, divine child. It's like this trinity of energies. And I'm still honestly figuring out the expression of it through myself as we speak. I feel like it's a very new energy, which might describe why some people are explaining it as bullshit. Well, it's they're just still in the old definition and dimension of it. It's not where we are going as a planet, if you ask me. But then not that they're bad or wrong. It's just where they are in their soul's evolution. The way I feel divine feminine is love expressed. Love expressed. And all expression is love if the heart is open. So she can be in agony and longing. She can be in ecstasy. She can be dorky and goofy. She can be erotic and wild and naughty. She can be all these things. And I believe that lives within the masculine as well as the feminine. It is unleashed expression with the heart open, which would then mean takes into account compassion and doing no harm to others. So that's just inherently built in that pure expression. And the way I'm sensing divine masculine is light, is spaciousness, is groundedness, is depth, is, if we could say on the earth, like the mountain. The mountain doesn't move. And it's noble, and it's also win-win-win. So it is, all actions are based on benevolence and for the highest good of all. And it's protective, very protective of the highest good of the planet and all. And then there seems to be something that happens that I don't know where the chicken is and where the egg is, but I'm feeling like an innocence, a divine child innocence, not like the wounded child, little you, but like a divine child who's never known a conclusion, never known a condition, never known a limitation, never, like complete wonder and innocence of anything's possible creativity that somehow blends with the feminine expression and the masculine spaciousness or direction holder or banks of the river. There's something weaving together with all of those. That's the best I've got within my own body, the shifts within my own business. And I'm able to tap into, so with the divine child part, I'm able to tap into anything's possible. And maybe it's coming all the way through my pineal as well. I'm not really sure. But it's not a conclusion-based mission, vision, purpose, like what I think my identity is going to do on the planet. It's a surrender, divine use me, like coming out of left field. Like it could be anything. And then the expression is joyous and juicy and authentic. And then this masculine, it's a sense of I've got my own back. The divine has my own back, but not from the outside in with proof, like an inner resting that I've never had. And I'm just starting to more fully embody, and it feels so good. It feels so good.
Beautiful.
What are your thoughts?
Amazing. I love that. I think it's righteous. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I'm wondering if you can tell us next how people can find you. You've written a lot of books, you do coaching, you have a podcast.
Yes.
How can people find more about you?
Yeah, you get to hear the amazing Lisa on Intimate Conversations. So that's everywhere, YouTube and Spotify and Apple. Instagram, YouTube, all with / Allana Pratt. We've also started a Patreon channel where every week I do my truth transmissions and I answer people's questions. So that's Patreon. Yes, you can book a call. I do group coaching. I do private coaching. I do the psychedelic somatic integration work. So that's called an intimacy breakthrough experience call. That's right on my site. We can give a scholarship to your listeners and we can put that in the show notes for them as a gift.
Great.
And then, there's a lot of, it's really funny. I've written 6 books and we have 3 intimacy journals. And I'm like, yeah. But one day this woman interviewed me. Her name was Simran. She's so lovely. And she started the interview off reading all this really quite amazing stuff. And apparently I wrote it. Like, I'm like, really? That's from my book? Are you serious? That's pretty good. So when you do something, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's like, oh, that's so last year. But the books have evolved like I've evolved. There's books for men, how to be a noble badass, for mothers. When mama's happy, everybody's happy. Around relationships, finding the one is bullshit, becoming the one is brilliant and beautiful. There's a lot of great content, practices, stories in those very inexpensive books. They're all on Audible. They've been recorded. So however you like to digest books, that could be a really nice way to start. You can find them on Amazon or my website. Yeah, I'm really grateful for how far I've come. And I'm going actually to Salt Lake on Sunday, Lisa. I desire to create a documentary, or at least a docu-series, where they can show the deep intimacy I have with clients, but people can go, oh, that's me. I have those feelings. That's going on in my relationship or in my family. And so I'm going to talk with potential benefactors who believe in this mission for the planet, have aligned legacies, because that's what's evolving or awakening or inspiring me these days. So those are my offerings of
Amazing.
what I'm up to.
Thank you so much for that. And Allana's website is allanapratt.com. You can find that, and we'll also put that in the show notes for you. But if you're listening, that's what it is, allanapratt.com. And 2 L's and 2 T's.
That's right.
You know what's so funny, Allana?
What's that?
My next guest, who's coming in about 30 minutes, is Simon.
No way. Give her a hug for me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Give her all my love. She's extraordinary.
I'll give her a Zoom hug. But yeah, she is totally cool. I've been on her podcast too. So
yes.
So funny that you just mentioned her name and she's my next guest. Isn't that nuts? So
good. So good. Yeah. All the listeners, get her books. She's got like a series of 3 books. They're amazing. And she's a blessing.
And so are you. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you so much. It's always such a pleasure. And thanks all of you guys for tuning in to this amazing conversation. And if you want to find me, you can find me at lisacampion.com. I work with emerging psychics, healers, and empaths who really want to step fully into their gifts, because I think the world needs all the healers it can get. And that's what we're doing right here. We are saving the planet one person at a time right here on the Empower channel.